On this episode, we want to give a shout out to Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. We love this park. When we were deciding to do dad walks, we knew this was the park we wanted to go to. They've got lakes, they've got playgrounds, they've got baseball fields, they've got it all. You've got to check out Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This episode, we have on Joshua Rosales from Breakthrough You podcast. We talk about his love of being a dad and community and believing in people. We hope you enjoy.
Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. One quick thing. So I was listening to your first podcast. That was my barber, Chloe.
Oh, the Nashville barber, babe.
Yeah.
I love her. I'm getting ready to. I'm going to reach out to her and see if she'll do an Instagram live with me. Trying to mix it up, not just a podcast, but do a podcast and then do an Instagram live.
Yeah.
So for the algorithm. So I mean, it's been pretty incredible. She has an amazing story.
Yeah. I've followed her from the very beginning all the way to where she is now. So,
she's incredible.
Yep. Great barber. But I thought that was pretty funny seeing that.
I'm constantly on social media. I spend like 3-4 hours a day and night on social media, just scrolling through, prospecting, and just coming across incredible people. It's just awesome.
Yeah. So tell us, like, what do you do? What does your wife do? What kind of podcast do you have?
So I am a dad.
There you go.
Nashville Dad
That works.
Show.
That's why you're here.
No, it's crazy. We do. My wife and I do quite a bit. For myself, I'm in the financial industry. I've been in banking for, I think, 24 years. I was a manager in Cool Springs at a financial institution. I was sitting on a couch one evening, and my friend, we used to manage together at Wells Fargo years ago here in Nashville, and we both went our separate ways. And he left Wells Fargo and went to a small community bank. It's actually the only bank in the United States. But I was sitting on my couch watching, I think it was Encanto with my 4-year-old. You know, as a dad, you know, you get stuck watching these. You watching movies with your
It's like Encanto makes me cry every time. So
goodness,
it's brutal.
It's like, Daddy, I want to watch Encanto.
Oh, you want to watch me cry?
For the 50th time. I want to watch that. No,
There
okay.
are other movies.
Oh my goodness. So sitting on the couch and my friend texts me, he's like, "Hey Josh, you know, what are you making?" And I was like, "Dinner?" Or like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, what do you make an hour, at the bank?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, this is what I make." He goes, "Well, I want you to quit your job and I want you to come work for me." And I'm like, whoa. Like,
It's not a casual thing.
Yeah. So after some investigation and digging and questions, I made the switch and I work from home. And so my day job, I work for Solaire Bank and also Discount Solo 401k. So what that is self-directed IRAs and solo 401ks where somebody can purchase a property, either like a rental or an investment property, but we set up 401ks, trusts, and also IRAs. LLCs where they can purchase these properties in the name of the trust or the LLC. Tax deferment, building wealth. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's really, it's incredible to add that to your portfolio.
I have to tell my wife because my wife has been talking about trusts and how I guess that's the way to go if you want your property to move down without having to have the legal fees and.
Yeah, it's incredible. Not a lot of people know about it. It was crazy because 3 months prior, my mother-in-law, my wife's family is from Puerto Rico, and my mother-in-law has 3 properties there, and she's thinking about buying another property. And I'm like, there has to be a way where you can buy a piece of property and you can like tax deferment. Of course, down the road, you're going to have to pay taxes on it anyways, but it's like as long as you can defer the taxes, like, that's what everyone's trying to do legally, And so then 3 months later, my friend texts me and now I'm learning all about this stuff. And it's like the taxes, the tax code, and just learning it. It's just been, been insane, but it's been great. But so I do that. I'm also Governor Lee appointed me on the Human Rights Commission, so I start that up in May. So the Human Rights Commission, there's 7 of us, and so Governor Lee's administration appointed me, and then I think the Speaker of the House appoints someone, and there's other key legislators that appoint. So I'll be starting that up in May. So we'll be listening to housing and employment discrimination cases. Pretty excited to do that. And then I have a nonprofit called Breakthrough Nashville. We just submitted to change the name to Breakthrough Tennessee because we're actively in Davidson County and then actively now in Rutherford County, help out with schools, so elementary, middle, and high schools. Not a lot. We got about 3 schools in Antioch, and then about 3 schools in Rutherford County that we help out. So that's our focus, and of course, a Hispanic community. My mother-in-law has a church in Nashville on Haywood Lane, and we see about 2 to 3 families a week that end up at her church from the border. We had three families from Cuba. This is a crazy story. So 3 families from Cuba. Of course, you're able to travel from Cuba to Honduras. The air flight's expensive, but so they flew from Cuba to Honduras, and then from Honduras made their way all the way up on foot to the border, crossed over. And so just to hear their stories, and so we hear stories like this every single day. And so we also help, like registering the kids for school, helping the families get vaccinated. We provide like household items for them, looking for just helping them overall with their needs, immigration needs as well. And then my wife recently won the seat for Rutherford County School Board, so she's busy now with that. She was a graduate from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. She graduated with a biochemistry degree, so education's really close and dear to her heart. She was a football hostess during Peyton Manning era.
Oh, nice.
So she's a big UT fan, but she's an expert in SEO and internet marketing. That's what her day job was, and then. But now she says she's a full-time mom, but she's always like either at the Capitol or she got a meeting. I'm like, you are a full-time, you're like a stay-at-home mom, but you're not a stay-at-home. So she works so much, and she does so much for the community. But yeah, so we just do a lot, and I'm very active in the Hispanic community as a whole, and we're very active politically, locally, and on the state level. And there's just so much happening. So it's my wife will come, and I'm going, and we're just like sometimes passing each other. But the weekends we kind of just take for ourselves, and we'll chill on a Saturday and a Sunday. And then today my wife had a couple of meetings, and then I was like, I got invited to the Nashville Dads podcast. I am going. I'm going. So it was like, that's cool. And I did an Instagram live with a good friend of mine, Anna Sherrill, earlier. She owns Joyful Foods here in Nashville. She has an incredible story of starting her business. But then I have the podcast, the Breakthrough podcast, and that really came to being because I do a lot of networking, and being in the banking industry, my job, if you could say job, or what I do is I go out and I hunt, right? There's hunters and farmers, we call them. So hunters is like, you got to go out and you got to network and make connections and build relationships. And then, down the road, being able to bring those relationships to the bank through, relationships. And I was talking to a business owner the other day, and when I left the bank, I was at that particular location in Cool Springs for like 4.5 years, overall at that bank for like a little over 7 years. But he was like, man, Josh, it's crazy that you left. And quite a few people are like, crazy that you left. It's, you gave me a personalized service. Like you would, I could come to you and you would help me. And it was just, I think that's lost a lot as well, because it's like you go somewhere and somebody just bends over backwards for you. Like they do for you. And you're like, this is why I'm not banking with this bank. I could care less about this bank. It's like but this person is so valuable to me that I'm going to bank here because of this person. And so when I left, quite a few people are like, Josh, that sucks. You left, blah, blah, blah. But, it's all, it's all good. I had to move on. But during that time, like, myself, one of my board members, Ashley Gaylor, who was doing a lot of networking with me at the time, he was working for New York Life, and also Alex Okagu, he works for Sony Entertainment. We're doing a lot of networking, and so I was like, you know what, we need to do something besides going to these networking events. Between the two of us, Ashley and I, like we would go maybe three to five networking events a week, and
you were parents on top of that.
Yeah, you have like 4 kids, don't you?
Yeah, so I got a 21-year-old daughter, I got a 22-year-old daughter, a 20-year-old daughter. I got a 17-year-old son, and then we adopted our 4-year-old, and we got her when she was 5 months, and so she's 4 now. So it's constantly just just constantly, and then my mom helps us a lot.
Yeah,
but I was like, it's just crazy. So I was like, we got to do something instead of passing out our business cards and talking to people and following up with them. And they were like, hey, why don't we do an early morning Zoom call called Brew with the Crew? And we all get together 7 a.m. or 7:30 in the morning. We get our coffee and we invite business owners and guests that we met to come on the show, and we talk to them, and we get able to get to know them. And we started that, the three of us, and then, each of us are crazy busy. They're busy as well. And so they as of right now, they're not able to be together with me doing that. So I was like, hell, I'm doing it on my own because like, I love it. Like I love it. I love everybody has a story, and, to be able to dig in and to listen to that story and to uncover and to be able to say, hey, John, this is a great conversation. I have a podcast. I would really love for you to come on and be a part of that podcast. Who's going to say no to coming on to a podcast, right? Yeah. And so it's like right now, the podcasting is kind of like the wild, wild west. Everybody's doing it. It's like it's just uncharted territory. And it's like you can just get on and do a podcast. And so, it's really been helpful to me networking wise to say, oh, you got a podcast? Yeah, you got a podcast. I'd love for you to come on. What's the name? It's called, the Breakthrough You podcast. And I kind of tied it to our nonprofit. It's not together with our nonprofit, but our nonprofit Breakthrough Nashville. We just changed it to Breakthrough Tennessee, but the whole breakthrough you, breaking through your mindset. A lot of people tell me, the majority of my followers are in the health and fitness industry. And it's kind of like, breaking through our mindset. 90% of everything we do, if we can break through our mind 90%, then the 10% of our body will follow. I still haven't broken through on the health and fitness part on my end, but it's like I need to, but it's just like every entrepreneur, like a lot of times, I tell people like, you got a towel, the towel, you can either throw the towel in the middle of the ring and say, screw it, I give up, I'm done, I'm done. Or you can say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to wipe the sweat off my brow, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to grind. And so a lot of the stories that I have that are aired and the individuals that are on from every industry, it's just like everybody starts somewhere. Everybody wants that end of the game. Oh, I want that. I want the success, but they don't want to. They don't want to go through the process.
Yeah, they don't want to put the work in.
They don't want to put the work in, and it's like, you can't just overnight be I guess you could be an overnight sensation, but it's like you had to put the work in the beginning. Even Taylor Swift and, Justin Bieber, they were playing on the streets, and like having to do something. Like you see a lot of these celebrities, and it's like, it's hard work. It's like my son is 17 years old, and, I constantly just having conversations with him about he's wanting to do real estate, and he's going to be a senior. And I was like, why do you want to do real estate? He's like, because I want the money. Like, I want money. I was like, okay, so what do you want with the money? Like, I want a Range Rover. Like, he saves his money. He works part-time. Yeah. And I'm like, so let me tell you this. If you want the Range Rover, you got to put in Range Rover work. You got to put in Range Rover work. And so it's like, this ain't like a lot of young people, and this is one thing I'm passionate about as well, is like, I'm a big proponent for trade schools. College isn't for everybody. And especially like Williamson County, and, don't mean to single them out, but, just a lot of other, Davidson County as well. You get these parents that I don't know what they think, like, oh, my kid's going to college. They're going to college. And it's like, well, that's great. But are they, like, what do they want? Like, when they get out of college, they're going to come out of college with like $60,000, $100,000, $150,000 in student loan debt. And then they're going to get a job that's like $65,000 a year, maybe $100,000 a year. Yeah. And it was like, you get some kids that go to a trade school, like HVAC, making like 100 to 150 money. 150. And I was telling my son, we were sitting in the car the other night, and I picked him up from work, and, a couple of conversations. I was telling him, he was like, Dad, I'm tired of this. Like I'm doing dishes, this and that. And I was like, that's good. Yeah. I said, that's good. I said, because that's the mentality that you need to have, is you got to go in there with a mentality of like, hey, I'm going to do dishes. I'm going to be the best dishwasher ever. Like, if I'm going to clean tables, I'm going to be the best table cleaner ever. I said, because it's the work ethic. As of right then and there, like you're saying, you don't like it, but it's teaching you something. Down the road, it's going to be better. And I was like, if you want to get into the real estate industry, then that's great. We'll get you into the real estate industry when you're a senior, and you can kind of see what you like. I said, but when you turn 18, or when you graduate, because he just turned 18, I said, but when you graduate, you need to know kind of what you're wanting to do. And, the benefit of Murfreesboro is you got the Tennessee College of Applied Technology out there, and they teach all these different trades, and they're $100,000. Some of these trades are $100,000 plus. Even
that's awesome.
IT, so tech, and it's just like, if the real estate doesn't work, and we're blessed because my brother-in-law is a phenomenal real estate agent. He doesn't do a lot of social media, but just word of mouth. And the guy is just insanely good at what he does. But he's a hustler and a grinder, and he's just he's from, of course, Puerto Rican, and just tapped in. He's tapped into a niche, and it's just working for him, and he's incredible. But I was telling my son, I was like, follow. You got to be proactive too, right? I was telling my son. You can't just wait around for things just to fall in your lap, right? And this is, talking about a dad, right? Being a dad. And it's like, I feel like, fathers, sometimes we get so busy that we don't really invest in our sons, or we don't invest in our daughters, and it's just really telling them about life. We get so busy, and time just goes by so fast. And I sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, man, I could have done things a lot differently, because, when back in the day, I was working 2-3 jobs, and I was, my prior marriage, I got married at like 22 years old, and I was working 3 jobs, and, my ex didn't work. She stayed at home with the kids, and it was just like hustling. It was like, I miss a lot of stuff as a dad. But, the one thing that I do is, my oldest daughter went to trade school to be an esthetician. My other daughter, went to trade school to do nails. And then my son, I was like, college isn't for everybody. If you don't think you want to go to college, then don't go to college. But you got to have a plan.
You
got to have a plan. Yeah. And so what is the plan? And so, he is willing to listen to me, and we have some really very candid conversations from, it's like, don't have sex, but if you're going to have sex, you better wrap it, right? Yeah. You better wrap it. Like we have, candid conversations like that. It's like, if you want to do something with your life, then you see the, Ellie, our 4-year-old, I say, you keep messing around, you're going to have something like that right there. You want that? I say, and then it's going to even be harder. Not that you got to say, you know what, time out, my life's over because I had, no, your life is not over. You just got to work a lot harder, but it's preventable. It's preventable. Just wrap it up, and so it's, we have conversations, and I'm really, I don't say hard on him, but we just had candid conversations from a father to a son, from a father to, even my daughters. Like, I talk to them straight, because it's like, you got to take care of your credit. You got to make wise decisions. You got to save. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it's just like, hey, Dad, I need money. Well, why do you need money? What did you do? What did, your budgeting, all that stuff. Yeah. And so, of course, to my kids, I'm going to help them out. But, you're going to get a lecture from Dad, right? You're going to get a lecture from Dad, because it's like, life ain't fair. I tell kids all the time, you're going to graduate. You're going to be 18 years old, 19 years old, graduating from high school, and life is just going to slap you in the face. Like,
kind of does.
Life will slap you in the face and will kick you in the gut. Life is not say, oh, I'm going to choose you to be nice to, and I'm going to choose you to kick in the gut. Yeah. No, it's like, or, kick. I mean, sometimes life, I feel like kicks me in the balls, It's like, man, that hurt.
Yep. Well, I remember whenever I graduated college, it was the first time the metric of success was what you have to define as. Because you go through like all these school systems and you're like, oh, did I get an A in this class? What grade did I get? Here's if I'm good or not. Then you get out of school, you have no school systems. Like, am I successful today? Did you get fired today? No. Do you think that's successful? I think. I don't know. Like, how do I define if I'm doing the right thing or not anymore? Because the metric of what I reach for now is gone.
Yeah.
So what do I do with this?
Yeah.
Also, tell your son, if you wash the dishes, you are showing the people there you're willing to do the small things.
Exactly.
And when people watch you do the small things, they'll trust you with bigger things.
And that's what he was saying. Yeah. The next night, because I think my son. I mean, of course, you're going to be in these little. You're going to get in these grooves, right? It's like, man, even us. I mean, there's some days I hate my job, and there's some days I really love my job, and. For him, he was like, you know what, Dad, you're right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the best because at the end of the day, I need that money. I need that money. So I'm going to do what I have to do to get that money so I can save up for my car because he's saving up for his car right now. And so I was like, you have to. And the one thing that I always say, and I tell my wife and I tell my kids, I was like, if you continue to do what you're supposed to do, you're going to end up where you need to be.
Yeah.
If you continue to do what you're supposed to do, you're going to end up where you need to be. And the equation that I talk about is A times E equals R. A times E equals R. Activity times effectiveness equals result. So if the result is not there, and I tell my kids and I tell other people, if the result's not there, then you need to look at how effective are you being? Like, are you just straight up lazy? Like, if the result's not there, are you being lazy or are you working hard, but maybe it's the activity that's the wrong activity that you're doing. So change up the activity. Like the goal should never change, but your plan is you're always gonna be tweaking your plan, right? But the goal is never gonna change. So it's like the same, your plan, what you did yesterday is not necessarily gonna work for today, right? And because constantly everything is changing, like social media is changing, life is changing.
Got to be on top of it.
We went from working in office to working at home. It's constantly. Just everything is, even for myself, like the skill sets that I have in the retail banking industry for sales are not the same skill sets that I'm using now. Totally different skill sets. And I feel like a fish out of water. Like I'm 46 years old. Like I'm good at what I do. Like I'm good at what I do when it comes to building relationships. But here's like, I'm not really building a lot of relationships. I'm doing a lot of the back end, and so I will get to a point where I'm getting comfortable to where I'm going to be able to use my skill sets to further. But right now it's just learning, and so it's really looking at that equation, at the results, and I think that equation goes for fathers as well. Is like. The activity times effectiveness equals results. For my son and for my daughters is the results may not be there. Yeah, I could have been a better dad. I could have done this and that differently. But you know what? My kids are not alcoholics. They're not drug addicts. They're working hard. And so it's really constantly every day. And I think as a father, and y'all do this too, but as a father and as a parent, to really examine ourselves every day to say, am I teaching my kids the right thing?
Yeah,
am I,
totally.
am I imparting to them really real life issues and just checking that, the results. And so it's really cool to be a dad. Really love it.
Yeah. How'd you adopt your kid?
So, this is a crazy thing.
Yeah. Cause if she or he or she is 4 now, you were almost done with kids. Like your kids are almost all out of your house.
Yeah.
And you're like, get back into it.
Yeah. So my wife now, we've been married 7 years, 8 years. And so when we got together, we couldn't have kids.
Okay.
And that was on my end. So we were like, okay, we're not going to have kids. And so it was like, cool. Like we can go travel. We can like do stuff. We didn't really, but she wanted kids. And so, we tried, doing the whole, going to the doctor and would say, hey, is my sperm count good?
Yeah,
and
you did
like,
fertility tests and
no,
all that stuff.
No,
yeah.
it's not good. And I was like, oh, okay. So then we're like, okay. So then it just so happened that there was 2 opportunities to adopt a babies. And the first one, it fell through, and my wife was like, okay. And then the second time, my wife was in the delivery room and cut the umbilical cord. And the next day, we were supposed to go and like do the paperwork, and the mom changed her mind.
Oh man!
And my wife was like, "That's it.
That
I'm
hurts.
done.
Yeah.
I'm done." And then my mother-in-law was like, "Hey, there's an opportunity." So the backdrop on this is, my brother-in-law had an opportunity to adopt this baby. The baby was a drug baby, and the process of going through that we went through that with them. They went through the whole process, but just us seeing and being there and helping out, supporting the constant just crying because to getting the drugs out of the system.
Oh man!
Well, the birth mom,
Withdrawals, yeah.
So the birth mom had a first child, and a friend of our family's took that first child and is the guardian for that first child. And then her sister not adopted, but is the guardian for the second child that the birth mom had. And then the birth mom had a third child, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they adopted that child. And then shortly after, they adopted another child, and then they had their own child, and so, and then during all that, there was 2 opportunities where we were able to adopt, but then they fell through. So then my mother-in-law was like, well, the birth mom had another baby, but the baby is in New York, and there were some issues and domestic stuff where the birth dad got deported to Guatemala. The birth mom was in New York.
Oh my gosh.
I think she was in jail. And she's been in and out of jail. And so for us, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law flew to New York, got the baby, and so the baby, her head was as flat as this bottle of water right here. It was just flat. And it was because she was laid in a crib for so long. And it was really sad when they brought her to the airport. We're like, my mother-in-law was like, we got the baby, it's here. And we were like 10 minutes late, but we showed up, and, she was 5 months old. The bag had old clothes in it, and it was just really sad. And so, so we ended up starting the adoption process, and here, and I'm sure it's in other states, but it was so hard, especially on the medical side, because we didn't have medical for her. Like, I couldn't put her on my medical for work because she was still the legal process in New York, and it was just so much. And so we had to pay everything out of pocket, but yet it was this bundle of joy that we were able to connect with and be able to take in, and seeing her grow up, seeing her walk, take her first steps, and it's just giving her everything that she didn't have. And a lot of my friends, they're like, man, Josh, what are you and Francis doing? Like, what are you doing starting all over again? I'm 46 years old. It's like, she's going to call you grandpa. Like, people are going to think like you're a grandpa. And I'm like, you know what? You only there's no mulligans in life, right? There's no mulligans in life. You get one chance to do it right. Yeah. You get one chance to do it right. And so for me, it's like, and my wife is like, we don't want to live life with any regrets. And the whole what if, like, what if you adopt this, you adopt this baby, or people could be thinking in their mind, well, what if, and then it doesn't turn out. Well, what if you do and it turns out great, and it's like, there's so many, especially with the foster care system in Tennessee is so jacked up, and adoption is like, why does adoption have to cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000? It's like,
ask that question.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm here. Like, I want to give this kid a loving home. I'm going to care for it like it's my own, because it is my own.
And if it does cost, why can't? There's subsidies for everything else.
For everything else, yeah.
Why can't we do a subsidies for adoption? I mean, give me a freaking break. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many loving families out there, and it's just like, why do you have to? And then, why do you have to go outside the United States to go and adopt? And I can understand, but it's still like we got kids here in Tennessee
that need help,
that need a home. We got kids in the United States of America.
Make it easy for them.
We got, there's so much need here in the United States, and so, for me, it's like, you know what? We're giving Ellie the most amazing life that we can. And
that's great.
Look at the alternative. Where would she be?
Yeah.
Where would she be? And, so it was a long process, but I mean, she brings so much joy to our life. She's constant. She loves being photographed. She loves videos. And Daddy, take a picture of me. And let's go get ice cream. And even today, like in Murfreesboro, they have the soda shop, and so we go there and get ice cream, and it's at the fountains. And so she's able to run around in the water and eat ice
really
cream.
cute.
Yeah, it's just really cool. It's a really good place. But she just it keeps us young, and she's in school and hearing her say her ABCs and her counting and different plays. So it's just, it's just cool. And as a dad, I'm sure other families out there, but there's really nothing that we as a family haven't experienced, and me as a dad, there's really not too much that I haven't experienced. But like I was saying earlier, I feel like, we got to give more props to our dads, because they do so much. And I feel like dads oftentimes get so underappreciated, but we do so much. Not taking anything away from the women, but it seems like, the dads get forgotten about. Like, give us some props.
Even like with us starting this podcast, like our hope as a dad podcast is to have people on, like, you'd be like, dude, you're a dad. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Like, because you do stuff, I do stuff. This is pretty cool that we get to do stuff as dads, right? And just talk about it, glorify it, lift it up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not a bad thing. Like I was saying, society, I think looks down at dads. I'm sure not everybody, but for the most part, society looks down at dads. But it's like we shouldn't. Dads play just as much as an integral role as a mother does, and you can get into all the statistics and you can go down that road. But, I think that fathers play such an important role. And you see it in a lot of in the Hispanic community that I work so close with. And it's like, having a father in the home, or even if the father's not in the home, to have a present father there for the kids, it just does amazing things for them. And, and it's like, oh, okay, let's not talk about, how important the father is, but it's like, we have to. Yeah. Dads are so important that they need their props. And so that's just my, just proponent of fatherhood. And especially, I'm getting ready to, we're getting ready to go into the Rutherford County jails. I just started working with Men of Valor, which is, they have a campus in Antioch. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Men of Valor. So Men of Valor is we're getting ready to have a breakfast at the Music City Center. CeCe Winning is going to be singing, and Governor Lee is going to be, he'll be speaking. And what they do is they interview these prisoners these men that are getting out of prison, and they interview them. And then based on the interview, these men are able to transition from prison on into Men of Valor program, and they have a campus in Antioch. I've been there a few times, and I did my certification. It was about an hour and a half class you go through. And so what we'll be doing is, myself and about 5 other guys, we will be going into Rutherford County Jail once a week and sitting down with men. And so these men, it's a spiritual program. So they're memorizing verses in the Bible. They're journaling throughout the week. When we meet, it's facilitating a group, learning about them, finding out about their week and about their struggles and about their successes. And they're quoting scripture, and they see through a 12-month period. They help these men get jobs, and these men get acquainted and reconnected with their families and their kids. And the program overall is an amazing program. And so the opportunity to be able to go in there and mentor and just help these men that, and it's crazy, a lot of these men that they've done things that,
got them in jail.
Yeah, got them in jail, in prison. But it's like we all make mistakes, and it's like they need a second chance. And some of these men that are like really digging into it are, it's amazing to see the progression of change when somebody really wants to change and they put in the time and the effort, and then they get reconnected with their family and their kids. And so, I mean, dads play such an intricate role in the family, and also just as a whole. And so it's just like, dads need to be propped. I mean, give props to the dads.
Absolutely.
We need that sense of community. And that's basically what this was all about.
Yeah.
Is just getting us together. We live down the street from each other, so he was a dad before I was, and listening to his stories and what his knowledge and just giving me tips, I was like, man, we should start this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I think there could be other dads out there that listen to this and be like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Because I was scared shitless.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like, for me, there's so many different, and for dads too, like we need mentorship.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we need mentorship. And I say that fellowship keeps the fella in the ship.
Sure. Yeah.
That's crazy. Fellowship keeps the fella in the ship. Like, we need each other. Like, mentorship is so important, especially for fathers and in professionalism, like professional setting. Like, mentorship is so important. There's bourbon networking groups. Like, there's networking groups and subdivisions, that are like cigar networking groups. And like, it's like to be able to get around men, or golfing networking groups, or like to get around men in your area or in your church, or, just wherever they are, to do stuff with other men. It's so helpful. It makes you be better, because we all need somebody. Marriage didn't come with the instruction booklet on how to be the best husband. And, there's no instruction booklet on how to be the best father. There's no instruction booklet on how to, if there's no instruction booklet, you try the best that you can. It's like you try to save, you try to prepare, but nothing prepares you for the unexpected. No. And it was just like, we just dive into it and cross our fingers and work on the relationship, both with our spouse and our children, that everything is going to go well. And when you screw up, it's like, you know what? I screwed up. Sorry, and just being a dad's not easy.
No. Me and my wife were just talking about this afternoon, how I had no idea how bad the sleep deprivation would affect
People
me.
are like, oh, you'll be sleep deprived. You're like, oh, I understand what it's like to be tired. I was in college.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you don't understand.
No. And she was just like, I thought you would have prepared for that. And I was like,
you can't.
There was no way to prepare for that, because I thought I knew what sleep deprivation was. Nope. After about 2 weeks.
The first 3 or 4 days of sleep deprivation, you're like, I'll get a nap later. And then whenever it's month 2, you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
And how
this
much
is what they were warning me about. This
mess with your mind too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And it's crazy. I mean, you were saying that you're stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home dad, yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
There's not very many of them.
No, but that's incredible.
Yeah, it's really fun. No, we came to that decision because I've been a stay-at-home dad since January of 2019. So it was after we had our second kid, whenever she turned 1, we were doing 2 different daycares, 2 different pickup times just to afford it. Because I basically worked to pay for daycare, realistically. And after a year of that, I was like, okay, cool. So none of this is fun, right? We don't enjoy any moment of our day, right?
Yeah.
Not really. And my wife made enough that she could support the entire family. And I worked at a dentist office. So I had to be physically present to make money. She could work from home. Yeah. So if a kid had a fever, couldn't go to school, she was the one who took care of it. And I was like, what are we doing?
That's
this doesn't make any sense.
My wife, the same thing. I would go to work and she was like, hey, Josh, during the pandemic, she was like, she was able to work from home. Yeah. And then they put her, they changed it to where she could work from home permanently.
Yeah. Yep.
And she was there, my daughter, running all over the place, and she's working, and I'm just like, and now that I'm at home, Francis, I need help. She's like, I didn't need help when I did it on my own. And I'm like, touche.
But part of that is I think as a man, as a husband, you should look at I'm very big on mental presence.
Yeah.
So like nowadays, I usually have dinner ready at like 5 p.m. or like 5:15. So like by the time it's 6 o'clock, we've eaten and caught up. Before, whenever we both worked full time, man, if dinner was ready by 6:15, I was impressive. So like by the time it gets to be 6, we can play for a little bit and then we can take a bath, then we can start bedtime routine. When we both worked full time, it was like you rushed the kids out the door, worked a full day, rushed to get them back home, rushed to get them to eat food, rushed to give them a bath, rushed to hang out with them for 5 minutes, and then put them to bed. And then we're like, so what did you do today? And you're like, I'm too tired to talk.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Exactly.
So I do not regret. I'm very glad and lucky that I'm able to stay home with kids and to take care of family stuff.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So do you use a crock pot or an air fryer? Like what's the secret?
Okay, so when it comes to food, have you ever been at a party and you ask a guy one question, then 50 minutes later he stops talking?
Yes.
That's me discussing
right now. Right now, I just keep talking.
Yes, that's how I'm with food. So like, I'll put it this way. I made a challah for a guest, like a challah bread, the other day, and I did a full day rise of it. So like the night before, I'd done it, and like you just come up every like hour and a half and you punch it back down, and then whenever the kids went to bed, I formed it into a loaf.
But he's a phenomenal baker.
You haven't had the cookies yet. So, but no, I do. I do an air fryer. I have a slow cooker, an air fryer, and Instapot. So no, I will do pretty much anything.
Do you grill?
Yeah, but like, hold on. Whenever you say grill, are you saying like I warned you. Whenever it comes to grilling, if you're talking about a propane grill, I am an elitist. I don't consider that grilling because you turn on the grill, you put seasoning on it, you flip it once, you come back 4 minutes later and it's done. I don't smoke meat. Like I will grill stuff, but like it's not that impressive to me because you just get something hot and you put something on it and then you stand there, drink a beer, flip it, and then you eat it.
How dare you? That is hard work right there.
So you grill?
Oh, I try. That's about all I do.
We have a grill and a smoker.
Yes.
The smoker is incredible. Our neighbor.
What kind is it?
It's an electric smoker.
Oh, okay.
But our neighbor Lewis, he has a shop in Murfreesboro. It's called the Smoke Shop. But his grills are like $200 less than Lowe's or Home Depot.
Oh.
His smoker, like we got our smoker for like $125, I think. Yeah. And we do our Thanksgiving turkeys in it, and we'll smoke brisket in there, and it is amazing. Like it has a remote control.
I mean, it has like the probe where he goes into it and then it'll let you know whenever it's at temperature.
Yeah, so I love to.
I need his number.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, incredible stuff. Like he has the green egg. I mean, it's just an amazing. The guy is incredible.
The green egg is intimidating to me. I feel like I need to take a master's class on how to use a green egg.
Yeah,
and then I can have my green egg certification before I can buy one.
And then the propane, like my grill, like we have the charcoal sign, and we have the propane. But I keep forgetting to buy the propane tank. So it's probably been like
so it's really a charcoal
2 years,
grill.
3 years. I was like, it's like keep forgetting to buy the propane tank. So I'm like,
that's fantastic.
But the briskets that Lewis sells are from Mexico, and they're you get your regular square bruquettes.
Yeah,
these bruquettes are like all different shapes. It's just like and man, that stuff burns hot and burns long, and it's really really good. So I'm not the master griller. I mean, there's other people that but I do my best to grill and smoke and smoke meat and stuff like that. But our neighbor Charlie, he started a business called Single Tree Barbecue in Murfreesboro.
Oh, cool.
And I got my son works for him part time while he's going to school. But man, that is his barbecue is really good. And there's a lot of good barbecue out there. A lot of good barbecue, but his barbecue is really, really good. So every so often I have to ask Charlie. It's like, hey, you got to ask him some questions, but just an incredible griller. And so being able to ask for help. And I think that's the other thing with fathers too, is that be able to ask, being able to ask for help, because a lot of times we're so Spanish, Spanish like machismo, it's like we don't want to ask for help. We can do it on our own. It's like, hey, ask for help. I think
it's funny as a dad that you I feel like a lot of times you don't realize you were supposed to ask for help until it's way too late. Like I don't intentionally go like, I'm not asking for help with this. I look up 10 minutes later and I'm like, that was the moment. That's when I was supposed to ask for help.
I am the opposite of you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I am that stubborn. I don't need the help.
Yeah.
But that's my ego.
You have to get more. You get more examples of failure, and then you look up and go, "Oh, that was the failure." That's the.
It's crazy because being Hispanic, you would think that I would know how to do concrete or do like construction work or
just contractor work in general.
I'm like, look at these hands. These are banker hands. Like these are hands that have been in the financial industry.
There's not a single callus on those hands.
No callus on these hands. I'm like, but you know what? That's the other thing. It comes down to it. It's like, I say this all the time, and I don't know where I heard it from, but relationships will get you into places that money can't buy.
Yeah.
And building relationships, it's like my wife is always saying, is there no place that we can go that either you know somebody or somebody knows you?
Yeah.
Or like, can we just like, and I'm just like, I can't help it. Like, I love building relationships. And those relationships, when it comes to asking for help, is like, hey, I'm going to call so-and-so. They can walk me through this over the phone, or they'll come by. Hey, no problem, Josh. I'll come by and I'll take care of it. But it's like my wife, my father-in-law, he passed away about three years ago. But my father-in-law was an incredible father and just an incredible individual because like he was an electrician. He knew how to do electrician work. He knew how to do drywall. And one evening I was coming to their house, and he had their van had gotten in an accident. Someone had hit him in the back, and he had the van jacked up on the back, and he was like doing body work to it. I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, I didn't know you knew how to do body work. He was like, oh, there's many things you don't know. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like,
that's awesome.
This is like incredible. But it's just being able to ask for help and building relationships and just being able to, there's somebody that that can do stuff. And so it's like, as a dad, it's like, I'll ask. I don't care. There's no shame in my game. I won't ask, but it's good.
It seems like community is definitely a value that you have. I mean, you brought a photographer with you. You're going to bring a friend with you. Like
Hammerhead.
Yeah.
But what's the name of your?
Let's give you some promotion. What's the name of your company?
Hammerhead Photography.
Yep,
Hammerhead Photography. Okay.
So Christian is amazing. Hammerhead Photography. This is actually a great story as well. Would you mind if he got over here? We could share it.
Okay. You want? Okay.
This is incredible. This is incredible. Right here.
Okay. But I'm saying this because you have a really fascinating characteristic of community matters to you. And if you see someone near you who are like, dude, jump on in, help.
Yeah.
Characteristic is not something that is common to find.
Did you know you would be on today?
Welcome to the Are you a dad?
I am actually.
Are you really? Nice.
Look, you meet our requirements for being on the podcast.
So this is incredible. So, like I said, I'm on social media like 3-4 hours a night.
Yes.
Sometimes more. And with the Breakthrough You podcast, all of a sudden, like I'm always reaching out to people, but you reached out to me, and it was just like, how can we collaborate? And so, share for a second, like how.
Yeah. So basically, I was just trying to figure out how I could build more relationships. Through my business dealings in the past, I've realized that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you have to be able to develop that network. And if you don't have one, you just have to do it cold. Best way to do that is, hey, how can we help each other? Are there anything you're looking for that I can do? And maybe we can help each other out. And that's how I came across him. I saw that he was working on a social media presence, and I might be able to help.
Yeah, man. Networking is so cool. Someone says you got to work the net. You got to work the net. And so working the net is, I'm prospecting people on social media and getting people to come on the podcast and then I'm like, oh, wow, I got a message here about photography. And so it's just, we're all trying to help each other.
That's cool.
And it's just so cool. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Networking can do not just for your business, but can do for every aspect.
Yeah.
Every aspect. And so many people like I'm struggling with my business, but then they're not networking, which goes back to that 8 times E equals R, right? It's like everything can go back to that 8 times E equals R. And it's just like, if I can help you and you help me, I mean, it's just.
Why not help each other?
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible.
That's cool.
You just gotta ask. That's the thing. That's the hard thing right there is just the asking.
Well, and the thing is everybody's afraid of being told no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Oh my goodness. Dude, give me a no.
It kind of like
No is not the worst you can get. A no saves me time.
it does.
Yeah.
It's a very. I think it takes time to realize that though. I didn't realize that until like my mid 30s. Of like, oh, if someone says no, you just move on. You're actually communicating well. If someone says no, they've told you their intentions. That's what you've been looking for this whole time.
And you never know until you try.
You don't.
That's always my saying that you never know until you try.
Yep.
You're gonna make a lot of mistakes though.
Yeah. And you got to be hungry.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be hungry. Les Brown says, like, you got to be hungry. Like, you got to go to bed tired, and you got to wake up hungry. And you got the hunger and the desire and the like digging way deep to become what you want to become. Like, people say practice, and this is for fathers, for dad, for everything. Like Hammerhead Photography. Follow social media, Instagram, the Nashville Dads podcast.
There you go, man.
Follow us. Follow us.
You're working that
here.
network. You're
Right
working
here.
the promotion. Well done.
But it's so practice. We've all heard practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
And I always thought that until someone said, practice doesn't make you perfect. Practice makes you better.
Yeah.
And it was just like every day I got to be better as a father, as a husband, in the business arena. Like, I'm only as good as I was yesterday. And I want to be better than I was yesterday. Tomorrow, I want to be better than I was today. And when I was in the banking industry, I would tell my people and I tell my kids, I was like, when you turn the lights off and you walk out of the bank, did you make the bank money or did you lose the bank money? Like, that's the way I think of it for myself. Work ethic is like, did I create revenue?
Yeah.
Maybe not dollars, but did I create a relationship? Did I create? Yeah, value. Like my conversations when I talk to somebody, did I walk away with value added? Did they walk away with value added? And it was like being purposeful. Everything that we do, being purposeful in what we do and what we say, everything has a purpose. And it was just like I'm not the perfect person. Like I'm not the perfect father. I'm not the perfect husband. I'm not perfect. And for people that say that they are, they're lying.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
nobody is perfect. We're all looking to be better each and every day.
Yeah.
And if I can link up with Hammerhead Photography, and if I can link up with the Nashville Dads podcast, if I can link up, and that's why it's like, I'll drive 45 minutes, I'll drive an hour to do a podcast or to connect to people, because there's so much value in connection, so much value. I tell people, you're only one conversation away. That's why networking is so important, because you're only one conversation away from Hammerhead Photography blowing up. Like, you're only one connection away from the Nashville Dads podcast saying, okay, Sirius wants to like bring you on, the right person hearing the podcast.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Where's this person?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm working for it. Like,
Thank you.
I'm working for that, and it's just like the more that we can connect we can connect on social media, but to be able to come in and sit down and do a podcast and do a connection. And it's the other thing too. It's like there's a difference between. Am I talking too much?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
This is great.
You're feeling it. You've got the muse. Keep going.
I'm going to start passing the offering
Yeah,
plate.
right,
We're going to
yeah.
pass the offering plate.
I forgot my wallet at home.
No. Hey, but it's you're one conversation away. You're one person away, and that's why networking is so important, because it just takes one. It just takes one, the right person listening to the podcast, the right connection to just blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
And it's just that one. And that's why the hunger for me is staying up at 1 in the morning till 1 in the morning and posting. And I'll be honest, it's probably been about 2 weeks and I just get into a slump. Like, and it's like you're not the Energizer Bunny every single day. I'm sure we all get into a slump.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like I hardly even posted for the last 2 weeks. And my engagement rate on my Instagram, I check that out every day. And it's kind of like checking your bank account, right? It's like, okay, I got money, and it's like, oh man, I gotta tighten up. But it's like looking at my engagement rate. My engagement rate has dropped in the last 2 weeks, because I would be posting 3 and 4 and 5 times a day. You know, I was driving over here, and Gary Vee was like, I want everybody to be posting 8 to 13 times a day. You gotta be posting, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say there's not a way, but it's like 8 to 13 times a day posting content is a lot.
That's a lot of content.
It's a lot of content. So it's like, but you know what? I'm going to do what I can do.
Of course.
And I'm going to post like 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I guess it comes to a point where you get consumed, not just in maybe just you're building your brand, right? You're building your brand. You're building photography brand. You're building a podcast brand. You're building a brand. And that desire, that hunger has to like consume you to where it's like I wake up at 2 in the morning. It's been a little while since then, but I'll wake up at 2 in the morning and I got my phone next to my bed and I'm just taking notes because I got ideas coming through my mind. And through the nonprofit, it's just like how can I work it better? What are ideas that we can come up with? And it's like my wife's like, you never sleep.
Yeah, when do you sleep?
Never sleep. And I'm like, well, I sleep when I'm dead, right? It's like I sleep when I'm dead.
But
like,
if you don't sleep, you'll get there sooner. So really, you need to sleep.
Exactly. And I sleep like maybe 4 hours. I sleep like 4 hours, But it's just like you get to a place where you're so driven.
Yeah.
And I think that separates a lot of people from the ones that don't make it from the ones that do make it.
Yeah.
And not saying like if you're not sleeping, you're not going to make it, but it's just like if you do it, you got to be 100%.
Of course.
And especially like if your podcast or your business, whatever you're going to be doing, this is what you like your goal. Like I said, the goal never changes. This is what I want to. This is going to be my bread and my butter, or this is going to be like I'm gonna whatever the goal is. It's like the goal never changes, but I'm going to tweak the business plan, every so often and look at it. But you just get such a hunger and a desire that it's just what drives you. What drives you, and I think as too being a father and a husband is just what drives me to like how can I be a better dad? How can I be a better dad today than I was yesterday? And how can I be a better dad tomorrow than I was today? And a spouse and a friend and just how can I be better?
Yeah.
And when that takes over and just drives you and propels you to that next level, I mean, it's it's just I'm just hungry.
It's the way I view it. What helps motivate me for that is I think I have to remind myself there's always more depth around me. There's more depth of relationships. There's more depth. There's more angles than what I've already come up with. And because if I think of like, that doesn't bring me shame. Sometimes if I'm like, I should be better, then I get shame involved. But if I'm like, no, man, there's more depth to your relationship with Justin. There's more depth to your relationship with my wife. Like if you've realized that like there are little moments in every day in which you can not capitalize, but you can like be mentally present for, you can say, Justin, how was your weekend? And actually mean it more than you would have if you just thought it was a one-off question. Yeah.
So I say, okay, I screwed up. So now I'm not going to do what I was doing. And, I was thinking about this. I think about it a lot. So it's kind of like church. Mm-hmm. So go to church and it's like, okay, and people have a lot of ideas about church. Well, church has a bunch of hypocrites. Church, I don't go to church because of this. I don't go to church because of that. I was like, I'm not perfect. That's why I go to church.
Yeah.
But it was just like, you got to get to a point, I think, as a dad and, sometimes, I have conversations with my wife and I have conversations with my kids and I'm like, you know what? I did the best that I could do and screw it. I did the best that I can do raising my kids. I didn't get a manual. I didn't get a manual for, like I said, for raising kids, for being married, for, everything. There's no, you do it. You do it and you jump in and you swim and do the best that you can. So it's kind of like, I'm to that point now where it's like, whether my kids have whatever they think about it, I don't really care what they think. This is for me. This is for my wife. And it's just, I think you got to get to a point where you think that. It's just like, you know what? I don't really care what people think about me. I mean, you do care, but you don't care.
Yeah.
Because you got to do you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Come on, somebody. Preach. Preach. Come on, we're at church.
That's right. It is a
Nashville
Sunday night.
Dads
It's a
podcast.
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night.
It's a Sunday
Pass
night.
the offering
When's
plate.
communion? Is that the cookie?
That's
Isn't
right.
it?
The
That's the
cookies
cookies.
afterward. That is so cool.
That's awesome.
This is an amazing podcast that y'all have. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like really,
Thank you.
really cool.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Really cool.
It is genuinely a lot of fun. It is.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're an example of. We're like, hey, if you're a dad, do you want to come talk to us? And you're like, oh, finally. Like, let's just talk. Let's just talk about being dads.
Yeah.
So.
And something that we have realized is we don't have to do much talking.
Yeah, man.
We just
No,
ask a few
yeah.
questions and then
Ask open-ended questions,
Basically.
and it's just like bam.
Yeah.
And that's the power of open-ended questions is learning how to ask open-ended questions to get a lot of information out of somebody.
You also have to care. Like, when you ask the
Yeah.
question, you have to actually mean it. You can't just be like, so how do you feel about community?
yeah.
Exactly. You know, it's crazy. In the bank, my prior bank, they had this sign that I would put on my desk, and it said, "Be here now."
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would every time I sat down in the morning, I saw this sign that said "Be here now." And "be here now" is like what you were saying, being present.
Yeah, man.
Not just being
It's so
present,
hard.
looking at you and being like, oh, okay, blah blah blah. But it's like, no, my mind, like everything is focused
you
on
here?
you. I am here,
Yeah.
being present. And I think, you know, if for fathers is being present in their kids' lives and not just being there.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, my 4-year-old's like, Daddy, play with me. I'm like, okay, I'm right here with you, you know, play. But it's like, no, get my butt off the couch, kneel down, and I play, be there with
Yeah.
it, and not being on my phone.
A movie that I think of when it is being present is Click,
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because he misses everything
Yep.
with his kids, and I'm like, all right, I cannot be like that.
Yeah.
I have to be present.
Yeah.
That is a powerful movie.
Your kid's only 4 once. Your kid's only
Yep.
newborn once. And there's this reality to it. And there's so much day-to-day responsibility of your child existing that it's really hard to take to zoom out, basically, and look up and be like, my kid is like, my daughter, my middle child is 5 and she'll go to kindergarten this year. She will only go to kindergarten once. Like, this
Yeah.
will be her first day of kindergarten, the only time.
Yeah.
Be there, be
Yeah.
present, throw a party, do whatever you got to do, because this is the only time she's doing it. And
Yeah.
if you aren't, you missed it.
You missed it. And I think a lot of fathers, even successful fathers, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, successful millionaires, billionaires, it was like their kids.
Yep.
They missed out on you made all the money in the world, but was it worth it?
They're financially secure for generations.
Yeah.
And they don't even know you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it worth it? And so it's like, you know, it's just, I think that's the harder thing is when at the end of the day, my 23-year-old and my 21-year-old and my 17-year-old is like, is my relationship good with them?
Yeah.
Is my relationship good with my wife? Is my relationship good with, with my 4-year-old? Like, am I taking time to be there, to be present with them? And it's a challenge. I mean, being a mother is a challenge. Being a single mother is a challenge, And, I was talking to Lorraine Wade. She's a prominent attorney in Smyrna. I've known her forever, and she's like family to me. But, she's a single mother, graduated law school, and doing an incredible job. And her daughter just on Instagram Live. But it's like single motherhood is a challenge, and it's hard. But being a single father as well, like is hard. And I think like being a mother, you have those intuitions, like it's like innate in you. Being a father is like, whoa, single father. And I was there for about 3 years.
Okay.
And it was just hard. Being a single dad, raising a 12, my oldest daughter was 12. My other daughter was, I think, 10. And then my son, like 8 years old, and was like, okay, they're with me now for this week. And it was just like getting up in the morning at 7, being out being out getting up earlier than that, being out the door by 7:30, and then coming home at like 8:00 from work, and it was just like the crock pot, got to get the crock pot going. So when I get home, and it's just finding different things, and it's just all about that. And it's hard, it's difficult, but you got to go through that to get to where I am now. Mm-hmm. And I look back and I'm like, man, this is.
All that adversity, it has made you who you are.
Yeah.
And all this gray hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, shave. I don't like you with that beard. Just shave that beard. Had a goatee. I'm like, sometimes I just want the gray to show. I just want the gray to show.
That's right.
Show the gray.
That's awesome.
Show the gray. But no, it's just really cool. I love being a dad.
Yeah.
This is an incredible podcast
Thank
that
you.
y'all have. I'm glad to meet y'all.
Yes,
This is incredible.
Yeah.
But okay. So we're going to do like just 5 questions.
Okay.
This is how we're starting in every episode. Justin will ask the first question.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Joshua. What were your kids' backup names, if you had any?
Like what you almost named your kid.
Yeah.
Or
what would you have
Oh, yeah.
liked to have named your kid if you didn't have a backup?
I think one of them was going to be Elizabeth, and I believe it was Alexis.
Hard questions, huh?
Yeah, they're hard. I mean, I didn't really
this is
go
the quietest
into
you've
it.
been.
Yeah, my ex, she did the naming. I was,
Sure, and you're just like,
okay.
cool,
I was
man.
just like,
Well, you apparently were working 2 or 3 jobs, so you're probably like, yeah, sure, that's the kid's name.
I mean, the really cool thing was so my ex, they're part Filipino, and
Oh, cool.
all her family, her mom and her mom's siblings, they were born in Hawaii. So all of our kids have Hawaiian middle names.
That's cool.
So that was really cool. But yeah, I was just kind of, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's go with that.
Yeah. All right, that's a real answer. That's okay, cool.
I mean, yeah.
So next question. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
What's his name on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Oh, is it Uncle Phil?
Uncle Phil.
Yeah, he was a good one.
Yeah, I like Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. That's right. All right. Least favorite kids show or movie? One that I guess you've probably watched like 50 times and you're like, all right.
Don't say Encanto.
No, I love Encanto. Least favorite kids show. Well, I will say this: we don't really watch like the cartoons, but the one thing that my daughter's always watching, and I'm just like, is this Abilene. She watches Abilene, and it's just this kid. She's probably like 5 or probably about 5 years old, but it's just like it's always on YouTube, and I'm like, why do you have to? It's like you're watching another family, just another kid run around the house. What do you get out of this? And I'm just like, man, it's like, oh.
Dude, my nephews watch people playing video games.
Yeah,
So they're not even playing the video game. They're
like
watching
Stitch
someone
or
else.
It's Twitch.
It's
Twitch.
Whatever
yeah,
it is.
Twitch. I'm just like,
I don't get it. I don't understand it. Even like next gen consoles have the share button where it automatically will stream whatever you're doing. It's a market. It doesn't appeal to me, but it appeals to a lot of people.
my son plays games all the time, and he plays games with people from all over the world, and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you just do that so you can make some money while you're playing games?
And then sell real estate when you got time.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kid's toy?
Man, these are some good questions. Kids' toy. I would say Simon Says.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have that.
Man, that one's a hard one.
Yeah,
After 2, I get lost.
Yeah, pretty much.
always
The third or fourth one, I'm like, why? Or Bop It. But I feel like Bop It was
Bop
one of
It's
those
good.
also, where you're just like, who am I trying to impress here?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome. All right. What moment of your kid's life are you most excited to be a part of, or were you a part of?
I would say probably the birth of all of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is really incredible.
Yeah.
It is.
see
It's
it.
a miracle.
There's really no wrong answer in that.
There isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Just yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show. This was a lot of fun.
Josh, this was great.
We also have a lot. I feel like I learned a lot from you from this. So thank you for making this podcast worth doing.
Most definitely. I think every day, especially when I was going to work, like, I would have good friends that call me. And I think it's like very important. We can allow people to detract from us. And when we get to work, it's like we're drained.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's so important that we self-develop ourselves, like getting ready for landscaping. Like it's very, and even for me, like staying home and working from home, like podcasts that I listen to, audiobooks that I listen to, YouTubes that I watch. Like I want to be able to start work on the right foot.
Yeah.
And it's like I know there's certain calls, and I hope he's not listening.
Yeah. You don't have to go into too many details.
There's certain calls that like you just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pass on that.
Yeah.
Because my mind has to be right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, how can people reach you?
Oh yeah, how can we follow you?
So my podcast, the Breakthrough You podcast. So break THRU space U Breakthrough You podcast. I'm on Facebook, Josh Rosales. And constantly posting there, Facebook. Our nonprofit, Breakthrough Nashville. The through was THRU, so Breakthrough Nashville. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Nonprofit is growing. So, I mean, you can follow me there. Our nonprofit website, breakthroughnashville.com. You can go on there for other events that we're doing.
Well, Josh, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
man.
for having me.
Gladly.
Hopefully we could do this again. I hope
so too. Yeah,
do it.
Invite us onto your podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
man.
No problem.
We really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Nashville Dads. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.